Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today, since it's Sunday, I'm going to talk a little bit about God again. I get some questions, and I think they deserve answers, so I hope you enjoy these episodes. First of all, I get quite a few responses from people who are upset because I'm questioning science and I'm saying stuff about science and all this, and so I'd like to elaborate on that a little bit. Science. Now we think of science the way we're taught, it's just science, but science is broken up into a lot of categories. Number one, you have actual physical hard science like archaeology and biology and stuff like that, where they're actually dealing with physical things on the planet. So, I mean, these kind of sciences where they get evidence, real evidence that you can hold in your hand, those are different from other sciences, okay? Now, another area of science is theoretical science. And this theoretical science is what I dispute a lot on my videos. Now, these other kind of sciences with the medicines that they come up with, the GMOs, these kind of things, and the pharmaceuticals and all this kind of stuff, right? Now, these sciences I question because these people have agendas. They're just working people that are trying to get paid, and they have to do and say what their boss tells them to do and say. And that's just, I don't know how else to explain it. If they're working for a pharmaceutical company, they're not going to be cranking out all this evidence that makes the pharmaceutical company lose billions upon billions of dollars. They're not going to do it. They're going to stuff that evidence down and act like they never found it, and they're gonna do what they're told to do. So that we've got that kind of stuff, right? That kind of stuff we all know is going on. These scientists, they lie about the weather, about the medicine, about GMOs, about the stuff they're putting in our food, about the stuff they're prescribing to us from the doctor's office. All of this stuff. Now, that has nothing, honestly, it doesn't have anything to do with science because they're just lying, just like the politicians, right? All right. So, but those kind of hard sciences and then the lying people that are just, selling us stuff and getting us to take medicine, that kind of, those two categories are to the side. The other category is the theoretical. Now, this is the stuff where they're just reaching out in their imagination and coming up with ways that the universe could be created and all this stuff without God. And they tell you this, they teach us this, like it's just a fact, right? These theories that they come up with, they teach us like it's fact, and it's just not. The Big Bang Theory. Now, I was taught in school that the Big Bang was a fact. Maybe you didn't go to the same school I did, I don't know, but that's how I was taught. I didn't realize it was a theory until I started looking into it as an adult, years and years later. So then that's one of the things I began to realize, that these are just theories. The theories are just stories that people make up in their heads. And used to be, now Isaac Newton, Charles Darwin, Einstein, all of our greatest scientists from back in the day were devout Christians. But that's not that way anymore. They're devout atheists. They are trying to prove that there is no God. There's no, I don't see how anyone can argue that. They've got to They've got to stretch and make up new theories and all this stuff to explain how everything is created without a God, including evolution. They've taken evolution and tried to make that the entire explanation for our existence here on this planet, and it just doesn't add up. We're told it does, but it doesn't. If you actually look into it like I have, it doesn't add up. Number one, they say every bit of life came from a single-celled organism and we all just evolved from that. Okay, now there is no evidence of that whatsoever. There's just no evidence of that. That's a theory. We have single-celled organisms, but we don't have any two-celled organisms, or 3, or 4, or 10. None of that stuff exists in between single-celled organism and million-celled organism complex life, right? There's no progress there. There's no fossil record of progress. There's just single-celled organism and multi-celled organism. So that whole leap between the two, that's just theory, how this thing evolved to be us, okay? That's just theory, not a shred of proof. The other thing is, and I did an entire video on this previously, but all these complex behaviors that cannot be explained through evolution. They're just not. It's impossible. I mean, statistically speaking, if you look at how it just can't happen, and it happens over and over and over and over again throughout life, throughout the world. So for this lightning to strike 1,000,000 times in the same place 1,000,000 times around the world just doesn't add up, and statistically speaking it didn't happen. So what's missing? And that's where I come in with my ideas and my thoughts. Well, evolution, to me, evolution makes 100% perfect sense once you add God into it as well. Those two together, paired together, evolution is a tool of God. Now, it makes sense. Oh, yeah, okay. Because you cannot just completely flat out deny evolution. You just can't. There's too much evidence of it. If you've ever raised chickens or small animals like that, you can see a short-term, evolution. You can breed for a certain thing. Now, so it's just natural to assume that if a bird had to fly a long way to get food, well, the strongest flyers would get there to get to the food, and the other ones would die, and the strongest flyers would have babies that were strong flyers. It just makes sense. It makes too much sense to deny. But all this other stuff doesn't make sense until you add in God. And then it begins to come clear. Oh, okay. All right. Now, because there are parts of our behaviors, and I'm talking about all of life, parts of our behaviors that can't be explained through evolution. They can only be explained by an inherent gift from a higher power. It's just like our consciousness. And that's another thing that a thing that I'd like to point out is that science has no idea what these things are. Humanity, all of us, not just science, we're all ignorant of what is consciousness. What is it? No one knows. Not the smartest scientist, not the smartest scientist who's ever lived, not all of the smartest scientists together. They have no idea. We have no idea what consciousness is. It is a gift for mankind to no other creature in the universe that we are aware of. The same thing with life. What is life? What is it? It's some spark an unseen spark thing but nobody knows. No science has been able to explain it. Nobody has any idea. That it just is what it is, right? It's a gift. From whom? It's not a random combination of acids and chemicals in the ocean and it made life the most amazing thing ever created in the universe. Was just some mischance of chemicals that came together in the ocean, and that is far more far-fetched than God to me. They reach out to these bullshit, theories about this stuff, and they're just getting further and further out of the realm of reality. They're really stretching to try to explain away this stuff without including God. Now, how did life begin? The simplest answer is almost always the true one: God. Easy peasy. There's no complex. I don't have to jump through a bunch of hoops and explain a bunch of stuff and make theories to fit on top of theories to explain other theories and all this stuff. God did it. God made the universe, and he made life. So that's pretty simple. And back on the subject of science, if you're not questioning science, then you really need to take a step back and look in the mirror and see what is actually going on in the world. Number one, questioning science is how you do science. All right? Science isn't always right. A lot of times science isn't learning new things. They're lying. There's a big difference. Scientists lie. Scientists aren't these angelic, perfect creatures who just do the right thing no matter what, no matter how bad their daughter wants to take a holiday in Denmark, or how bad their wife wants a new ring, or their husband wants a new car, or how bad the economy is, or all these different things that affect us in life and have us making these decisions to make money. Scientists aren't above that. Scientists make decisions to make money just like everybody else. Some of them have been corrupted and are working for corrupt companies and government agencies, and some of them aren't. Some of them are seeking the truth and exposing stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all scientists are, lying scumbags. I'm saying that some scientists are lying scumbags, just like all the rest of humanity. They don't get their doctorate in whatever, astrobiology or whatever, and then all of a sudden become these altruistic superheroes who would never tell a lie. No, they're just people, and they're doing the best they can to make as much money as they can before they die. And sometimes that is fudging the results of an experiment. Sometimes it's outright lying. Sometimes it's just keeping silent. Well, I just won't say anything. That's not that bad. But then down the road, it turns out that, millions of people are killed through an opioid epidemic because you didn't say anything. That's how this stuff happens. So to keep trusting science, just blindly trusting, my advice is to never blindly trust anyone for any reason. Period. Question that shit. Don't blindly trust your pastor or your neighborhood scientist or your neighborhood politician or your neighborhood transmission mechanic. Nobody. Don't blindly trust anybody. Period. You'll serve yourself and your family a lot better. Question. And again, I talk about that with the science and stuff. I just honestly believe that the truth lies in the middle. God and science come together there in the middle, just like I said with evolution. And that is the truth, somewhere in there. God loves us, but he has to give us the freedom to make mistakes. Just like children or parents with their children. You can't keep your kid locked up in a closet because you love them so much. It just doesn't make sense. And it wouldn't make sense for God to do it. So we have the freedom to make mistakes. We have the freedom to run around in the yard and hurt each other. We have the freedom to do dumb shit because God loves us. That's the way it is. But on a grand scale, on the scale of the whole planet, there are going to be atrocities. But I believe when I move on to the next level, whatever this is after I die here on earth, I believe that this life, when I look back on it, it's just going to be like one step in a journey. Like if I started out and I walked 10 miles today, at the end of it, I wouldn't look back at one of those steps in those 10 miles and say, oh, that was so, that was so hard or whatever. I'll barely remember it. So, yes, this life on earth, I think, is in the far future to me is going to be the blink of an eye. I don't think that no matter which way you look at it, whether you're an atheist and you think it's just this, once this life is over, it's like turning a TV off. It's just over. That's it. Nothing afterward. Or if you think you continue on your journey, the things we do in this life matter as far as the repercussions that go on afterward here on earth, whether we're good people or we're bad people and we left good vibrations and good things behind us, or we left bad, right? But for us individuals, as we continue on our journey, what we did here on earth isn't going to matter too much as far as, how much money we accumulated. That shit's not going to matter. If anything, we're going to look back and say, why did I waste so much time doing that shit? Why did I waste so much time chasing the almighty dollar? Why did I waste so much time working? Why did I waste so much time doing this or that, whatever? I wasted that entire experience trying to put manifested, invisible, non-existent currency into a bank account. I believe that's closer to the reality of it. This stuff we chase here, these material things and this material existence is a waste of time, in my opinion. It's hard to get out of it, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm not claiming to be some kind of, guru or something like that. I know the answer, but when you get caught up and people are dependent on you and to pay the bills and to keep a roof over their head, what are you going to do? I can't take the time off work to sit down and meditate and get closer to God while, me and my wife are getting evicted out of our home. No. So I got to work. And I just don't think that I will value all these petty things that I've accumulated the way I value them now. I think the reality of it will be that they were completely meaningless. Another thing I'd like to talk about is Jesus and his philosophy. Now, sometimes there are, I'm going to say contradictions, but there are things that can be disputed in the Bible and even in the New Testament. Now, there's a lot of stuff that can be disputed in the Old Testament, okay? It was written thousands of years ago and whatever. But in the New Testament, there's still stuff that can be disputed because Jesus tells us out of his own mouth, turn the other cheek, right? If someone slaps you, you can turn the other cheek and let them slap you. Slap the other cheek too. All right. So what does that mean? And people people like to use it in a broader sense, like you're supposed to do no harm to anyone. If someone hurts you, you just turn the other cheek. If someone steals from you, you just give them more money. That kind of stuff, okay? And I don't get into that broader, the broader sense of that. I think Jesus was being more specific than that. And I'll tell you why. Some of you, maybe a lot of you, will be familiar with the story in the Bible where Jesus goes into the temple and sees all these money changers, and he starts flipping over their tables, and he grabs a whip and he starts scourging them out of the temple. Jesus. Okay? Turn the other cheek. Jesus. Do no harm and all that stuff. Peace, pacifist. Jesus scourges the money changers out of the temple with a whip. All right. Now, you ask those money changers as they were running out of there what a pacifist, what they thought of Jesus being a pacifist. They would have looked at you like you were crazy. He was attacking them. All right. So what do we gather from these things? He tells us one thing and does another. So I think that the whole slap in the face thing is about petty little transgressions. All right? Not more about do not escalate things into full-blown wars, these petty transgressions. If someone slaps you in the face, give them the other cheek. Let them slap that too. They didn't hurt you. They didn't do any real damage. So give them the other cheek. Show them how strong you are. More like that. Like, what you got, bring it. That's all you got? Here, have another one. Something like that. Right? Because Jesus proved with his actions that he wasn't a pacifist. He wasn't afraid to scourge a bitch out of the damn temple. So that's how I see it, because of his actions. And he commanded us to protect the children and do no harm to children and all this. He talks about that quite a bit throughout. So I believe that Jesus wants us to be strong and protect the weak, not to sit by and, if someone takes our kid, give them the other kid, turn the other cheek, give them the other kid. Here, you can have this one too. No, Jesus wants us to stand up and scourge them bitches out of our country. Protect our children. Scourge them. Defend. Protect. These things are what Jesus wants us to do. And to go against that, it just, I can feel it inside me. I can feel it inside me that I'm going against God's will by standing there and watching something bad happen and not doing anything about it, right? You can feel it, even if it's just on TV. You can feel the drive to help, to assist. You're supposed to do something. And I know that is God's will. Just like I said before about your conscience. And that's the only thing we need to do on this planet is God's will. If you do that, you don't have to worry about anything else. If all of us could just do God's will every single day and every single decision, if we could tell, if there was some way to tell, between which one is God's will and which one isn't, we'd always make the right decision. But it's more convoluted. It's more difficult than that. We have to search our soul and listen to our conscience. And some of us are disconnected from our conscience, even just partially. Some of us are partially, some of us completely disconnected from our conscience, and they're sociopathic serial killers and shit. They have no conscience at all. But before I wrap this up, I'd like to say that I love science. I love even the theoretical stuff. I love listening to that stuff and all that. Right? It's just interesting. It's fascinating to me. But to just take it as complete fact and buy into that shit and then argue over some theory that someone made up because you just take it as complete truth. It's just a made up story. And I watch that stuff and I'm interested in that stuff just like I'm interested in any other made up story. It's fascinating to me. I love that stuff. But I realized that the Big Bang Theory is just a story somebody made up. There's no proof of that. So I love science, archaeology, biology, astrobiology. I actually took an astrobiology course. Cosmology, all of this stuff. I love it. But I'm just not on one side or the other on the whole science religion thing. I know that the truth is somewhere in the middle. And to jump on one side or the other is wrong. Just to jump on one side of the Democratic or the Republican argument is wrong, in my opinion. It just is. I mean, you can vote Republican or Democrat, and I voted Republican this last couple times. But if they put Trump somehow had run as a Democrat, I would have voted Democrat, because I voted for the person, not for the party that uniparty thing that they have. I didn't vote for that. I didn't vote for the Republican. I voted for Trump. So I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll put that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. Thank you very much to those of you who do that. But I'll put that link down in the description as well. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble, Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. And I'll put that link down in the description too. If you can or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out a lot. Thank you very much. I sincerely appreciate it. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments, or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.